How did I discover it? Well, I mean, I'd heard about hemp oil for years. I mean, back, I think it was in the late 60s, the Brotherhood of Eternal Love used to make high-grade hemp oil and ship it from Afghanistan into the U.S. years ago. It was very expensive. But then a few years later, around 1975, I heard about the Medical School of Virginia study, which stated that THC, the active ingredient in marijuana, has been found to kill cancer cells. But I never really acted on it. I didn't have cancer myself at the time. But in around 1988, I started growing hemp. And then I think it was around 1993 or 1994, I actually took 2 pounds of prime bud and tried to produce some oil for myself. But the whole experiment was a failure. The instructions I followed were not correct. So, but during that experience, I figured out more or less where I had gone wrong. But I already had wasted so much good hemp bud, I thought, well, I won't do this. I won't go there. So I just left it alone. But a few years later, after my head injury, then they gave me all kinds of medications, but they didn't help me. So I was smoking pot, and that was helping me some. But around 1999, I really started thinking more about going back and trying to make the oil again, because I knew that, smoking the pot or smoking marijuana it would make me sleep a bit better. But it still didn't have the knockout power that I needed, because this noise was just keeping me awake 24 hours a day. So in '99, I talked to my doctor one day, and I asked him about this. I said, what would you think if I produced the essential oil of this plant and ingested it, as opposed to smoking it? And he gave me this very strange look when I come out with that statement. But he said it would be a much more medicinal way to use the substance. But still, they wouldn't give me a prescription, so I could do this legally. So then in 2001, the medical system cut me loose. So they just told me that we've tried everything we have. Nothing has helped you, so you're on your own. So then I really started with, I had no choice then, so I started to take the oil on a steady basis. And it just improved my health so dramatically. And over such a short period of time, my head still rings all the time, but I can live with it now. I can sleep. It lowered my blood pressure, so I don't have a problem with that now. It cured the arthritis in my knees. Then I cured my skin cancer with it. So in around 2003, before I finally really clued in about all the wonderful things this medicine could do. And I thought at the time that the government, or my government in Canada, would react and do something about this. And so I started contacting all the political parties and David Suzuki, the Cancer Society, even the United Nations. We went to everybody. Nobody would lift a finger. But, I started, in 2003, after I cured myself, I started supplying oil to other people. And then more, and they would tell their friends, and then more of their friends would come, and it just kept growing. So really it got to the point that I couldn't stop. The people just kept coming, and what do you do when somebody calls you on the phone crying? I have my mother's dying with cancer. I need your help. I need this oil. How can you refuse that? So in Canada, the legal system persecuted me. They made me into a criminal for healing people, which makes no sense. And it really disgusted me about my own country, but I just kept going on. And this is where we're at today. Finally, this medicine is being recognized worldwide. I would say now millions of people have used it and seen its effects. And I think there's hundreds of thousands of people that have made it already. So it's just a matter of time. This medicine is coming. They can't stop it. It is the greatest medicine on this earth. And it makes what the medical system, it makes what they're using look like what it really is. It's just poison trash that nobody should be using to heal. Nature heals. And the hemp plant is the greatest healer in nature.
How does it treat cancer? On a mildly basis, on a placebo base, or cannabis and THC just kill cancer cells?
Well, I mean, it's been proven since the 70s that, what happens is, like when you take the oil into your body, the cannabinoids within the oil, if the oils are decarboxylated, you take the carboxyl group away, and the molecules will fit into our cannabinoid receptors, our CB1, CB2 receptors. Well, once they fit in, if we have cancer, once these molecules fit into these receptors, it causes a buildup of a fat molecule called ceramide. And when ceramide comes in contact with cancer cells, it causes programmed cell death within the cells, but it does no harm to healthy cells. And another thing most people don't know, like if you look at tumors and the cells that make up the tumors, they're basically trying to commit suicide because cancer cells put on many more receptor sites than ordinary cells. Because if they have more receptor sites, there's more chance of them getting the cannabinoids they need to kill themselves. And that's really what happens.
Legal issues about cannabis. Why?
Well, in reality, there is no legal issues. There's corruption issues. That's the only issue we have here. I mean, this plant has been used by man for thousands of years. It's man's oldest known, and I think it's just man's best friend. We've used it for food, medicine, fiber, you name it. And today, I mean, we need this plant desperately because this earth is poisoned and it's getting worse every day. And if we don't wise up rapidly, we're going to go extinct. But the simple truth is, any law, act, or statute that was ever put in place that restricted this medicine's use, they were all based in corruption. They're not real laws. They're just ink and paper. That's all they are. Written by men who wanted to make more profit, who were working for the super rich, families on this earth. So, to me, if it was a real law and if this plant actually caused real harm or danger, I would agree. The law would be fine against it. But this plant does not present a danger. It's only a danger to the big money interests. And we need it now to survive. So I think the time has come for us to take back our rights, and the time has come to grow cannabis everywhere and use it in every possible way.
If you are on our place in Croatia, what would be your first step in pushing it in legislative changes?
Well, if I was in charge of Croatia, it wouldn't be a little change, because if I was the president of Croatia tomorrow, I'd just come out and say, okay, it's legal. Grow it. Use it for energy, use it for energy, use it for food, use it for medicine. Set an example to the rest of the world. And that's what they would be doing. And Croatia would have so many tourists, they wouldn't know what to do with them all. So I think it would be wonderful for this country. And as soon as other countries seen what was happening here, they would all be doing the same. So that's the future.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, brother.